Episode number 224. Respecting a future spiro life, miss? Returned Mr. Cruncher. I hope so. Respecting any present use o' this here blessed old head o' mine, I think not. Would you do me the favour, miss, to take notice o' two promises, and wows what it is my wishes for to record in this here crisis? Oh, for gracious sake! Cried Miss Pross, still wildly crying. Record them at once, and get them out of the way, like an excellent man. First, said Mr. Cruncher, who was all in a tremble, and who spoke with an ashy and solemn visage, them poor things well out o' this, never no more will I do it, never no more. I am quite sure, Mr. Cruncher, returned Miss Pross, that you never will do it again, whatever it is, and I beg you not to think it necessary to mention more particularly what it is. No, miss, returned Jerry, it shall not be named to you. Second, them poor things well out o' this, and never no more will I interfere with Mrs. Cruncher's flopping, never no more. Whatever housekeeping arrangement that may be, said Miss Pross, striving to dry her eyes and compose herself, I have no doubt it is best that Mrs. Cruncher should have it entirely under her own superintendence, oh my poor darlings. I go so far as to say, miss, moreover, proceeded Mr. Cruncher, with a most alarming tendency to hold forth as from a pulpit, and let my words be took down, and took to Mrs. Cruncher through yourself, that what my opinions respecting flopping has undergone a change, and that what I only hope with all my heart as Mrs. Cruncher may be a flopping at the present time. There. I hope she is, my dear man, cried the distracted Miss Pross, and I hope she finds it answering her expectations. Forbid it, proceeded Mr. Cruncher, with additional solemnity, additional slowness, and additional tendency to hold forth, and hold out, as anything what I have ever said, or done should be visited on my earnest wishes for them poor creatures now. Forbid it as we shouldn't all flop, if it was anyways convenient, to get em out o' this here dismal risk. Forbid it, miss. What I say, forbid it. This was Mr. Cruncher's conclusion after a protracted, but vain endeavour to find a better one. And still Madame Defarge, pursuing her way along the streets, came nearer and nearer. If we ever get back to our native land, said Miss Pross, you may rely upon my telling Mrs. Cruncher as much as I may be able to remember and understand of what you have so impressively said, and at all events you may be sure that I shall bear witness to your being thoroughly in earnest at this dreadful time. Now, pray let us think. My esteemed Mr. Cruncher, let us think. Still, Madame Defarge, pursuing her way along the streets, came nearer and nearer. If you were to go before, said Miss Pross, and stop the vehicle and horses from coming here, and were to wait somewhere for me, wouldn't that be best? Mr. Cruncher thought it might be best. Where could you wait for me? Asked Miss Pross,